What if I told you that planning your entire quarter doesn't have to take over your life or your limited work hours? Because as moms, we don't exactly have 3 days to lock ourselves away with a whiteboard and fancy coffee, right? In this episode, I'm sharing how I map out a whole quarter of business in less than 20 hours so that you can stop overthinking and start actually executing. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Moms Make Money podcast. I'm your host, Jenny. I'm the owner of Moms Make Money Collective, a podcast and visibility strategist and mom of two. Many moms feel like we need to sacrifice our careers for our children, but I wholeheartedly believe that we can have a thriving business and family at the same time. In this podcast, we're going to be diving into the ins and outs of running a business as a mom and getting real and raw about all things parenting. So buckle up because we're about to go all in. Hey, and welcome back to Moms Make Money, the podcast for ambitious moms looking to start, grow, and scale their service-based business in part-time hours. I'm so excited you're here and I cannot wait to jump in. So first, let me ask you a question. Does quarterly planning ever feel like it takes more time than you actually have to do the work in your business? I know for a lot of moms, planning can feel really overwhelming. Between school drop-offs and pickups, dinner time, and everything in between, sitting down to map out an entire quarter of business feels almost impossible. And the last thing that you want to do is spend an entire week planning only to come out with a binder full of notes that you never actually use. So that's why today I want to pull back the curtain on how I plan each quarter in less than 20 hours. Yes, you heard that right. Less than 20 hours to map out my offers, content, and systems for the next 90 days. It's simple, sustainable, and actually doable for moms like us running businesses in part-time hours. So if you've been craving a planning process that gives you structure without taking over your life, you're in the right place. Let's jump in. So here's the thing. I used to only focus on setting annual goals. And honestly, by March, I had already lost track of half of them. Life changes, kids' schedules shift, clients come and go, and suddenly that quote unquote perfect plan I made in January didn't really make much sense anymore. Because of that, quarterly planning has been the sweet spot for me. It gives me enough time to actually make progress on big goals, but also enough flexibility to pivot when life ends up throwing me curveballs, because let's be real, life with kids is just full of curveballs. Quarterly planning also helps me avoid shiny object syndrome. Instead of chasing every new idea that comes into my brain, I focus on just 1 to 3 main priorities each quarter. And that's been huge for my sanity and for my overall business growth. So let's talk about my framework for quarterly planning. So let's walk through my step-by-step process. So the first step is the pre-planning reflection phase. And this takes anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. So in this phase, I always start by looking back. So I ask myself questions like, what worked last quarter? What flopped? Where did I feel in alignment? And where did I feel stretched too thin? I take a look at my numbers, anything from revenue to client load to podcast stats. I look at it all. But in addition to looking at my numbers, I also check in with myself emotionally. Did I feel energized or did I feel drained? That reflection shapes everything moving forward. Then, after I do that pre-planning, I work on goal setting. This is usually about 1 to 2 hours. So from here, I set 1 to 3 main goals for the next quarter. No more than 3. That is key because more than 3 goals is just overwhelming and you're probably not going to accomplish it. And then you're probably not going to accomplish them. And then you're going to get really upset that you didn't accomplish them. So for example, maybe my goals are as follows: grow my membership, book 2 new podcast launch clients, and take Fridays off. Notice here, it's not just business goals. It's also lifestyle goals. Because as moms, our businesses have to work for our lives, not the other way around. The third step is offer and promotion mapping. So this probably will take another 2 to 3 hours. So this is where I map out what I'm selling and when. So plugging in launches, promotions, or collaborations that I have planned for that quarter. I take a look at my family calendar, any vacations that we are having if needed, and any vacations that we have planned if it's summer, kids' school breaks, because I know in Q4 especially, there's a lot of breaks for Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. And then from there, once I have all that mapped out, I layer in business promotions. So for example, if I know that we're taking a trip over the summer or there's a lot of time off during the Christmas holidays, I'm not going to schedule a huge launch that week. Instead, I will be more low key and promote something that's evergreen or low maintenance or not even at all. So that's the next step. So offer and promotion mapping is step 3. Then we have step 4, content planning. And this is another 3 to 4 hours. This is where I dive into my podcast content for the quarter, my emails, and social posts. This is where I batch brainstorm episodes that align with my goals. Then I map out email newsletter topics and a few ideas for social media, specifically threads. This is not where I'm scripting or recording everything. This is just where I'm creating a roadmap so that I'm never sitting down and wondering what should I talk about today? What should I post about today, etc. Then the final step is to do a systems and operations check-in. And this is another 1 to 2 hours. So this is where I take a look at my systems, what can be automated, delegated, or streamlined this quarter. I take a look and see if I need to hire support or not. Do I need to set up a new workflow in ClickUp or Airtable or Zapier? I just take a look at everything that can be streamlined and make a plan on how I'm going to tackle that. This step is pretty quick, but it's powerful because tightening up my systems always saves me so much time down the line. So I love finding new things I can automate so that I can save myself boatloads of time. So you might be wondering, how do I keep this whole thing in way less time than 20 hours? So a couple things here. I break down all this. So first, a couple things here. I break down all this planning into, at least 1 to 2, if not 3 planning sessions. I'm not locking myself in a room for an entire weekend. I spread the process out so it feels light and manageable and not like I'm just spending hours and hours and hours at a time planning. The second thing I do is I use templates and repeat what works. I don't reinvent the wheel every single quarter. I literally copy my planning doc from the previous quarter, make tweaks, and then keep on moving. And then lastly, I let go of perfectionism. My plans don't have to be Pinterest worthy. They just need to be clear enough for me and my team. They just need to be clear enough for me to be able to take action. So I know we all love examples, so let me give you a real life example. So last quarter, I knew I wanted to fill some more spots in my membership, launch a new low ticket product, and prep content ahead for the summer. So I set aside an hour or so for reflection, 2 hours for goal setting, and then about 2 to 3 hours for mapping out when those launches would happen. Then I spent a full day batching podcasts and email ideas, probably around 3 to 4 hours total. Then I did a quick systems check, making sure that my automations were running smoothly, and then adding on new ones as needed. All in all, this whole process took me about 12, maybe 15 hours max. And I went into the quarter knowing exactly what needed to happen, no stress, no scrambling. So let's quickly recap. Planning your quarter in 20 hours or less comes down to these 5 steps. Number 1, reflect on last quarter. Number 2, set 1 to 3 goals per quarter. Number 3, map out your offers and promos for that quarter. Number 4, plan out your content. And number 5, check in on your systems. That is it. Planning doesn't have to take over your life to be effective. And if you're ready to try this out for yourself, I want you to grab my free 20-hour workweek blueprint. It is jam-packed with exercises to help you design a business that fits into your part-time hours. I'll make sure to link it below in the show notes for you. And if this episode gave you an aha moment, make sure to screenshot it and share it on Instagram and tag me at jenny.sunnison. I would love to celebrate with you. All right, that's it for today. Remember, you don't need more time, you just need a better strategy. And quarterly planning in 20 hours or less might just be your new secret weapon. All right, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'd love it if you would head on over to our free Facebook group called Moms Make Money Collective to connect with us further. If you're more of an Instagram fan, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Moms Make Money Collective. If you're loving the show, make sure to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcast. Your feedback means the absolute world to us. We'll see you in the next episode.